Hey,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. It's a bit loud
Alright.
though.
Alright. I'll see if I can fiddle around with something.
Yeah, I fixed it on my end, no worry.
Alright. Sorry, I've got a bit of... Alright. I have, announced my whole party switch thing. It's been released, so it's not just a between you and me thing anymore.
Yeah, great news for the Iron Union. I think it's great news for the entire game that we finally can get something done.
Yeah, I'm certainly gonna have a good time.
So, what in particular compelled you to change parties all of a sudden?
That's a good question. I don't know. The PU wasn't really very interesting, And just, pacifism, yeah, it's a great thing, but, it is a game, and nothing interesting was happening, and we were blocking the whole war, and we weren't gonna get anywhere with Songhai. So I was like, something needs to happen. Now, I have also made the statement that I'm going to be making decisions as decided by my party for the rest of my term as minister, because, yeah, look what happened with Ravi.
Yeah, so unlike Ravis, you're staying on as a PU minister for the rest of your term.
Correct. I've changed ranks and everything, but I'm going to be consulting my party for any worksheet votes, and then on stream, I'm pretty much either just not going to show up and have my proxy work instead, or I'm going to, definitely just shift back into the PU mindset.
So, with the aid of the Iron Union and our coalition partners, the Glorious China Party, what kind of policies would you like to see implemented?
I'm not sure. I just kind of want things to be able to happen again. Because the way things were going, we were just blocking every attempt to, really get justice for Colombo, and because they got attacked. And that's, even by Progressive Union standards, that demands a war. And I think just having them exist with a relatively weak military compared to ours, the way things are going in game, we're about to be substantially more powerful than them. So if we can just move in and take them out, then why not?
So, not that there has been any sort of criticism like that so far, but what would you say about those doubting your true war allegiances by suddenly changing party?
Well, I'm telling people that it isn't actually a sudden thing, and it's been something I've been considering for a while. But yeah, it's my allegiance to the Iron Union is strong, and my old allegiance to the Progressive Union was not changed by my stance that I may in future be changing parties.
So, what's your take on the current in-game, outside the apparent inaction? How's the game going so far as this latest term as US minister?
Well, it's going all right. We are slowly progressing towards a state in our diplomatic relation with Songhai where what needs to be done will be done. But just the way my old party is working, it's just pathetic. It's not going to do very well. Also, I'm going to have to take a minute to just grab some dinner. If that's all right?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
All right, thank you.
So, that leaves you with me again, and hopefully we will get some other guests. I have invited quite a bunch of people, and I asked around earlier today. But otherwise, let's talk about the news, the elections, what have happened with your glorious, wonderful host, RB33. If you have any questions, ask them in the DGP server, the Democraciv server, or in the Twitch comments.
Alright, I'm back. I'm just gonna be eating.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going away for a while.
Yeah, no, I'm right here.
So, Space Politics asks in the chat how you feel about Sun's hiatus.
Well, first of all, I think that could be it's something that the IU might want to capitalize on, but I think that very much so he should be doing what he thinks is right for him, and Democraciv shouldn't be a total priority over the real world life. And I hope to see him back. He was a good guy while he was here, and I hope to see him back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very sad to see him leave because, well, I'm not the most liked figure in this game, am I? So he's one of the very few people to actually be nice to me, to give me a chance to listen to what I have to say without any judgment. And I really like him for that, and I try to get him back. By showing that people missed him after he left, but yeah, he got fed up with the supposed corruption and the way we have been treating ourselves. I guess it was too toxic for him, which sometimes it is. We can't deny that. I've seen worse though.
Yeah.
But everyone sets their own limit on how much they want to deal with, and that's his choice in the end.
And whatever is best for him is the correct choice for him to make. And I'm not going to judge him on what choice he does make. And yeah, he's a good guy.
I can only hope that the Union of the People will get someone equally as powerful and good of a guy to take over for them. Because he was one of their greatest members, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was a very effective member of the Union of the People. And we, had a good time talking to him, and he was a very good minister.
Are there any more questions at the moment, or Angus, is there anything you would like to talk about?
Not really. I just want to make sure that people know that I am still going to be working for the rest of my term as an agent of the Progressive Union, and I'm not going to be pulling a stunt like what Ravi's did. And also that my allegiances do now lie with the Iron Union in general. So, yeah, that's my main point.
So, what's your thought about the election? Why didn't you win?
Well, that's a very, very good question. And additionally, one that I'm not sure if I can answer while still claiming to be a ministerial agent of the Progressive Union for the rest of this term. But you know what? I'll go ahead and do it. Basically, there is a pretty large coalition, and the Progressive Union is actually directly linked in coalition with the Union of the People. That's something people haven't quite figured out yet. But there's a three-way coalition between DAO, PU, and Union of the People. And we didn't manage to hold our majority in the ministry. And that could... I'm not sure if that's just due to member inactivity, or if it's more due to us not being very organized this cycle, but... yeah. Whatever happened...
So,
I am actually currently in the process of leaving the Discord for that coalition.
You have a particular Discord for just your three parties?
Could you repeat the question?
There is a separate Discord for those three parties.
Yes, that is true. And I am currently, leaving it.
Is this the actual Illuminati this term?
This is the Grand Coalition, we call ourselves. They call themselves. But yeah, there's the leave server button. Alright. And I'm out of it. Well, that's fine. Yeah. But,
well, anyway.
Yes.
There was a Grand Coalition, but now there is a new coalition in town. There is the Pro-War Coalition, which loosely, I would say, consists of DAO, the IU, the GCP, the Celestials with DAS, and members of the Loud and Uninformed on an individual level, not on a party level, and that makes a majority for war in the coming term. Thoughts about that?
And that is a very good thing for our party, and it's also a useful thing for, well, just generally getting done what needs to be done. But yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing how that majority plays out in the coming term.
Space Politics in the chat denies any allegation that the Grand Coalition would be an Illuminati of any sort. I will let the audience decide that.
Well, as being on the Grand Coalition Illuminati, not Illuminati Discord, sorry about that, I can confirm that there was no reference made to the Illuminati that I saw in my time there, in the Progressive Union Ministry. Whether they have, in the past 30 seconds, linked themselves up with the Illuminati, which I would not be surprised by. The Illuminati does strange things. I do not know.
Okay. Damn it, I'm not a top streamer, so I'm really messing this up. Anyway, there was a guy in the Twitch chat. I don't know if you're still here, called Mk4. I probably messed up your name. But you asked, is there a political debate in the realm of civilization games? And if you're still here, Democraciv is a democratically played game of civilizations where we set up a state government, we elect people to be ministers and legislators, officials, and these corporately play civilization. Well, one guy streams it and others over voice chat gives orders, and then there's a legislator who makes laws and how the others should play. I can link it to you, and well, what we're doing now is holding an interview and a discussion and debates over things we have done. So yeah.
There's just one thing I'd like to add to that statement, and that is cooperatively can sometimes be a pretty strong word, especially as pertaining to some of the partisan divides in this beautiful world that we have here. But yes, it is in essence a cooperative playthrough. But yeah, everything else I already said was on point.
there is some question for you in the DGP.
Yes, I know.
You can answer those if you want to, in the meanwhile.
Alright, well, number one, by the way, thank you, Robbie. What motivated me to move to the IU so suddenly? Well, I'd been talking about moving with RB for a couple weeks at this point, so it's not actually very sudden. And number two, I'm not just trying to simply take an IU seat. I think the Iron Union is a better way of, getting things done. What do I bring to the table as a legislative primary candidate for the Iron Union? Well, for one, I bring the knowledge of how things are going in a lot of more liberal peace parties. From my time in both the Progressive Union and generally the Grand Coalition. And what have I learned from my time as minister? Well, I've learned that, really, even though our courts are entirely ineffective, a little threat of a lawsuit can fix a couple problems. And that was just with the whole polarization of Wes and Joe Bob. I ended up pretty much threatening both of them with a lawsuit because they were being a little ridiculous. But we resolved that issue in the last stream. And then I can... and you can just let me know if I haven't answered any of those questions fully enough, or if you have a follow-up question. But I can start answering some of your for the group questions, Robbie. So, what are the plans for the next term? What are my visions and concerns? Well, that one is better suited for RB. But number two, feelings on the DNP case. I'm assuming you're referring to Democratic Ninja Party versus the Gentry of elections. Well, there's a bottom line of ethics when it comes to elections. And, well, you remember from when you first formed the GCP that I was shoving that bottom line of ethics in your face a little, and also in Doss's case, I think it's very important that people consent to what they're doing. And so if the DNP just posted a legislative list and didn't actually release the people on that list and ended up just getting a couple seats from a few votes, then they could hold internal elections and figure out what they wanted to do with that. Number 5, how are we going to increase involvement this far into the game? Well, that's a very difficult question. We can keep posting advertising on the r/civ5 democracy Reddit, subreddit. So many terms to mix up here. We can also we basically just have to keep reaching out to new members, and there's really not that much that we can do when it comes to when it comes to increasing activity from old members. Like, we can, repeatedly ping them in the Discord, but, that's not that effective. They might have to deal with it eventually, but it's not gonna do great on improving on our current basis of inactivity. For when it comes to the secret societies and the mods' involvement in them, well, I'm not certain of the existence of any secret societies, but I think if there is valid evidence that our moderation is getting involved in secret societies, then a full investigation should be implemented to attempt to lower the number of, you know, rigged elections and things. Not that we're getting any of those. But yeah, we need to make sure that everything is coming out the way the people want and not just the mods want.
So, for those watching the streams, you might have noticed there is a view of the DG wiki and the current legislative results and with some detailed stats. And I will read them for you now. So, we got the Union of the People and Loud and Uninformed Coalition got 21 votes, which is a decrease of 5 votes, 3 percentages and almost 3 percentages of the seats. So, and they lost 1 seat, so they have gone back. And they're the only ones that have increased over this term and this election is the Iron Union GCP coalition or list and the Order of Dow, although they just kept their 2 seats, but they didn't lose any. In second place, for the first time I believe, because the first place has always been, let me check. First election was Celestials in first place, IFP in second, and Iron Union was third. Then it was Union of the People, Dow and Iron Union. And then Union of the People, IFP and then Iron Union again. So this is the first time that Iron Union has been the second largest party with almost 26% of the vote. Union of the People got 30%, 18 voters. IFP and the Progressives got 16 votes, 23%, which was a decrease. They lost 1 seat. Although as a coalition they got 3 seats and individually they got 3 and 1 last time. It's still a decrease of 1 seat, even if, or while the IFP got 3 seats last time but Ravis left. Dow increased but still the same, 10 votes, which is actually an increase of 1 vote. And 3 percentages increased out of 100%. Celestials went back. Honestly, I don't think they should have participated. Now I risk angering Das, but I suspect Das is not very in line with Celestials' ideology and principles, but I guess that's their choice. Good for us, I guess. And, well, unsurprisingly, they went back. I expected some of the voters to vote on the IFP PU list. The IFP certainly tried to get the Celestials over, which I think is the most in line with the Celestials' own ideology right now. So overall you can say it's a victory for the war parties, it's a lose for the pacifists, and voting turnout decreased again. Not as much as last time, because I think it was 27 last time. Yes, and now it's decreased by 8. Unfortunately, but the Iron Union had a good turnout. Order of Dow had a good turnout. They didn't decrease despite their overall turnout decreasing. And unfortunately, the IFP, Union of the People, and the Celestials all decreased though. Angus, any comments on this information?
None directly on the information you just read out, but I would also like to comment that I was actually voting with the Progressive Union on their joint ticket, and I voted, of course, for me, for ministry. But in that last general election, though you have no method of proving it, I was voting still with my old party alignment.
So this Mk4 guy from the Twitch chat actually invited some of our leaders to go on a real life political podcast with him to discuss, what did he say? How the games relate to the real world. Angus, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm just gonna pull up the Twitch real quick so I can take a look at it. But
I can copy it in our Discord chat.
No, I'm just pulling up the Twitch. Alright, thank you. Well, that is certainly very interesting for an offer. Though I am more of an ex-civilization leader, but that could be a very interesting segment for any podcast that involves video gaming or government. Probably not something completely unrelated, because they wouldn't really care what we were getting up to, but yeah.
Okay, my turn to answer Rabbit's questions, I believe.
Go ahead.
What are our plans for the next term? What are your visions and concerns? Well, as I say all the time, it's war, war and war. War, I believe. Did I mention war? Yeah, but besides that, that's pretty unsurprising. Besides that, I had an idea for a law that I pitched in the new, believe it or not, the Democraciv server, we called it, created this afternoon, about creating a head of state position, mostly without power, but sort of an symbolic figurehead of the nation, since, well, we have an executive, but we have no firm leader above them all. The executive is functionally equal. Well, one streams the game, but yeah, none has really more power, is more higher up or elite or having a particular position without just the minister role itself.
Can I butt in here?
Sure.
Well, technically we do now appoint our Supreme General from the ministry, but yes. Go on.
Yeah, so the idea, well, I'm going to write a law about it after this is done. So this stream keeps delaying me, but I will get it done later, no worry. That the legislature, to make the game more interesting, to make a majority matter, to try to get a coalition, a government coalition to actually to form, which was my attempt in the first election with the United Front. Obviously, it was a terrible alliance, mix of people with ideologies going from pacifism to imperialism within one coalition. How the hell would that work? It would not, but I did it for the sake of having a stable government that could agree on at least non-warfare proposals and laws and such, to get the stability, to get a government in place. And well, it failed, not because of that, but well, because of me, but that's another story. So I want that feel again, to have us with your grand coalition, which wasn't that public, at least to us, that several parties try to get together to propose a candidate for the head of state, empire, king, chairman, or whatever we would like to call it. And as I said, mostly a symbolic figurehead, but something to be competitive, to try to achieve. And this position, the head of state, could make proposals for the legislature for laws or just motions, and they will get to vote on it. And I don't think having a veto or something like that, it would be too disruptive for the already pretty, in my opinion, terrible balance. But just as an additional thing to make it more exciting. What do you think?
Well, it's certainly interesting. Yeah. there's a lot that the United Front didn't do well, but on your later points, well, this whole game has a lot of potential to go in some very weird places, but yeah.
So, Ekifatum in the Twitch chat asked us, did you ever consider having multiple head of states like we do in Switzerland? And yeah, this game is pretty messy already without having a head of state at all, even a head of government. So yeah, we have enough. we don't. We
have 5 ministers playing the game.
Yeah, we don't need. I think having a head of state, at least if we could agree on a pretty large coalition at least, that could unify the game some more, to have someone to look up to and ask for advice to steer our country in a certain direction. But having several of them, that would... Well, how many directions are we gonna go to? It would be impractical as as humanly possible. No, unfortunately, as an experiment you could do something like that, but I don't think it will be a good outcome, unfortunately not. Okay, moving on with the Ravis questions. Feelings on the DNP case. Which, Ekefetum, can you guess what those initials are for? Yes, that is the Democratic Ninja Party. Yes, that's a thing. And yeah. So the case. So what happened was that Das, the leader, or really only active member of the Democratic Ninja Party, made an election list with the candidates for the legislature, and he put a bunch of people who didn't provide their consent on being on that list. 3, 4 of them, and in the end he didn't even put himself on the list. So he just put a bunch of people who probably would not have won, since nobody actually would have voted for that list, but yeah, so anyway, the list got removed by the moderator because if they don't consent, then they shouldn't be on a list, which everyone agrees to be reasonable, I assume. And yeah, he sued through the court. He sued the moderation, or the electoral gentry, which is the election boards who does the election thingies. And yeah, does the moderation or the election gentry have the right to remove people because they haven't provided their consent yet? So that's the case, and I mean, technically they don't have the right to remove people because of that, but it is a reasonable thing that they don't allow people who don't want to be on a list. Right, Angus?
Yes, that is A, very true, and B, I also think that generally the mods should just accept it on the grounds that as soon as that person potentially would get in office, they would be able to resign. So if you just count it as a resignation from the election before they even got picked, then that works constitutionally as well.
Okay, Ekifatum said, I believe it was an answer to my the answer to the multiple heads of state question, and he says it makes it more difficult for one party to steer the country in a certain direction, but it slows down the process a lot. It does, and I don't think we need more of not steering the country in every direction. The opposite, we need to steer it firmly into a more reasonable action-like direction, not just we will do nothing and just click next turn without doing much, as we have done so far. we need to get more active, we need to get more involved, and yeah. And it seems like you got to the point where playing Civ is almost as complicated as real life politics. Yeah, almost, yes, almost is the keyword. Real life will always take the prize, but yeah, we complicate it a much. But you have yet to see our court procedures, which are mind-numbingly, in my taste, too close to real life, and proves that we got no sense of fun, really, except those judicial nerds who want to make us suffer with their procedures, and too complicated procedures and formalities. But yeah, the politics themselves can be complicated, but not as much as real life, and we can be annoying to each other, and pretty bad at cooperating when we're not doing Illuminati stuff. Yeah, Angus, what do you think? Are we as complicated as real life?
Well, not quite, because real life has the added thing that the decisions made by the government are directly influencing whether each voter's status in things like the economy. But that economy isn't just like the economy we've got on here, which is our economy isn't very important to the daily life of our players, whereas a real-world economy can determine whether or not someone eats. And I think that's a very important part of why we don't quite... This game isn't quite as, like, complicated, and with basically why it's not quite like real-life politics. Our policy decisions don't affect people's daily life.
So when you boil it down, it comes to, there is a pro-war side, there is a pro-peace side. The pro-peace side want more science, religion, really on the Celestials, but they are pretty dead right now, and culture. And the war side, yeah, they want to win through domination. They want to conquering other civilization cities could get us more culture, science, and so forth, and win such a victory. That's possible. Or we just want to conquer the entire globe. There's a difference of opinion on how imperialist we want to be, but the main ideological divide in the community is war against peace. And so far we have a pretty large peace majority, with the Progressive Union, the Industrial Futurist Party, the Order of Tao mostly, the Celestials, the Union of the People supporting peace, and for a long time only the Iron Union, later Nuke, and now closest to us we had the Glorious China Party supporting war, and just about a fifth, or if you count some elements within the Order of Tao, which have supported war, or at least ideological wars or defensive wars in some situations. And it's changing finally. I think it's with this election it's more 50-50. We can get some loud and uninformed on our side if we get death from the nominally peaceful Celestial Party, but he was from the Democratic Ninja Union, which supported war in the last term. So we can get war, actually. We probably will. Without always also supporting war in this case, because it's a defensive war against Songhai, or well, we are starting it, but they started the whole feud with being hostile against city-states and so on. So we are merely protecting our neighborhood against the criminal that is Shanghai. Yeah, I don't know where this question started, but that's my statement at least.
Yeah, I don't have anything additional to say on that one. Alright. Did we get through all of them yet, or...
Feelings on Ken Lane and his cool stories. Yeah, did you read the detective stories that he made about Democraciv?
No, I haven't had a chance to read that one yet.
He actually made 2 of them so far. It's like, yeah, it's different, but if that's your sort of thing, I guess I can link one of them, the latest.
Thank you.
So it's the chat right now. I can read something out of it.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
I will try to show it on stream as well. It should be on the stream right now, and let me read something out of it. Case File 2, The Road to Hell is paved with good intention. This case is based on a tip submitted to Ken Lane and Westcott, private investigative firm. All facts presented here are supported by real evidence collected and told through the format of a PI story. Should our evidence be required in court? Blah 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 blah. We're going on. Tip 1. I hear that veteran Jonesion and RB are involved in some kind of conspiracy. RB, that's me. And I fully deny it. I'm not part of the old Illuminati, only the new one. Tip 2. Retro and Archwizard are planning on installing themselves as dictators. According to myself. I did not submit that. I don't know who did, but they thought they were funny. And they were probably a bit funny, but yeah, don't make fake submissions in other people's name, please. Okay, so quote, I can, but only 2 still there. Maybe are this guy Charlie, who was in all likelihood the leader, though not a mod at the time. At least 1 mod was present in the group. This is about the Illuminati, by the way. Can you tell us what this group aimed to do? I asked directly. The goals weren't always clear. There was discussion of creating parties so we could manage them and be at the top. But then what? Blonde asked skeptically. When bad form, we were worried that bad could be, well, bad for democracy. So we conspired to ensure that bad was never a threat to the political establishment by coming up with a plan to ignore smaller groups of influence. And ensuring we had a stable three-party system. Thanks, I think we got enough here, I tell the man as I finish my drink. We'll look into this once we're done with our current case. We exchange a few pleasantries and the man leaves. I ask my parties what they think of the situation. It's not clear any cabal still exists, Gut points out. It's entirely anti-democratic. Blonde is visibly upset, and I understand why. Backroom deals between people with already too much power to orchestrate and guide our democracy does not sound very democratic. It's not clear what happened or if it has ended, but we have a list of names and we should follow up, should take place. How about we table it for now and see what those railway boys are up to? Yeah, it's dramatic, it's overly dramatic, and it's like those movies that says they're based on a true story, but they made up 75% of the movie to make it more dramatic and increased guns fire by 95%. It's that kind of story. And, well, it was about this grand conspiracy, about the Illuminati existing, to creating all the parties, to decide who won elections, and whatever it was. But Well, we don't fully know the truth, but it doesn't seem to be that way. It seems like the iteration of the game was very individually dominated by a certain people who just got elected every time. People wasn't involved, there wasn't a party system, the same people won every time. So they decided that we need ideology, I can't speak right now, but different ideologies from different parties, getting different members and so on, to keep the game diverse and not have one party or two party system dominating all the things. So they created a group to prevent that, to work for a more diverse community. That happened anyway, so they didn't have the need for it, and then everyone forgot about it. The game worked anyway, people left, the server got deleted, and then someone leaked it 2 months later, and now we got an entire Illuminati conspiracy. Yeah, that happened. And Jonesion is here, I noticed. You have anything to say? Yeah, thanks for being here, Ekifatum. It was great having you.
Alright, I'm actually going.
I think it works now. Can you say something?
It's working.
Yeah, can you?
It's working. Okay.
There he is. Alright.
Angus, actually.
Good.
Can you kind of explain to me what happened?
Well, you know, IFP and PU, they're great parties. They're kind of doing okay, but here's the thing: we got into this diplomatically tense situation with Shanghai, and at this point, something needs to happen, because we're not going to very easily de-escalate the situation. And so
this is all stuff that you can use, but and this is, you're always like hesitant about the whole pacifist part of the Progressive Union, and so
yeah, I mean, originally I was very much, we need to.
I think I see what's happening. You were like a swing voter. You like the Progressive Union's other ideas. Weren't so sure about the pacifism, but whatever, it wouldn't come up, you think. And then Shanghai starts happening, and you realize secretly you yearn for genocide. And okay, so
That's
okay. Come on.
This makes perfect sense. I'm.
Come on.
I actually.
When I continue to support the. If I continue to support an invasion of Shanghai, and when I continue to support that invasion, I will be very adamant in making sure that the innocent citizens in those cities.
Oh, come on. Every time you conquer a city, you hear the screams, right?
Every time I conquer.
Those are shares of happiness for us liberating them, okay?
Exactly. Shanghai is being worse to its people than we are. In our current cities, I was, as supportive as I was on pretty much any issue, supportive on building farms and making sure that everyone had what they needed to eat, that our economy was doing okay. Like, especially, like, space politics, and a lot of other people were very confused by the suddenness of my change, but we will try to.
Back to me being your proxy.
What? Can you repeat that question?
That I am your proxy. Does that like change? Does our situation change?
No, that situation won't be changing. I am completing my ministry term as I would if the whole IUS bid had not happened, and this change had not happened. I will, if I need to leave a stream early, or if specifically, like, something's going down that I'm like, I'm gonna start acting in favor of the IU, I know I will definitely contact you still, because who voted for me? The Progressive Union. The peace parties.
Union. You're not going to pull a Ravis. Like,
No, that was one of my greatest concerns coming into this party switch. That I would end up looking like I was doing what he did. And I was making it very clear when that first happened that that was not okay, and that was not something I would support, and I was making sure that I wouldn't end up doing it.
Here's what you're saying.
What is happening on your side? Sounds like you're trying to wrestle with your desk.
Yeah. Pretty much that, you know? Just, your average mid-debate panic attack. No, I was having some microphone issues.
Okay, so anyway, Angus, and so you chose the Iron Union as opposed to other more moderate pro-war parties because...
There are no moderate pro-war parties.
Well, there's New, there's the GCP, there's the Liberals, or the Order of Tao, I'm sorry.
If I switched to GCP, it would look like a trend with the whole, after the Ravi's thing, and it would... They would probably start losing public approval after that.
Already
also,
losing public approval.
They don't have the best record with people anyway. And
the Order
really,
out. With them in the PU, they voted for war. They have a strong record on like progressive policies outside of war.
yes, but again, there's that coalition with a lot of peace parties, and I think the way to go really is all or nothing. And whether or not I will start trying to encourage more sort of close interactions with these parties later, after we sort of kick off the Shanghai War, remains to be seen. But right now, it's in the best interest, I'd say, of China to...
Tao is pro-war with Shanghai, though.
Yes, I'm fully aware of that.
Really, just why you decided to like choose, of all the parties that are in favor of war with China, why you chose the Iron Union?
Look,
because I guess
first of all, I asked.
Yeah, go
I
on.
am a private citizen. I do have my own rights. So, what specific grievance do you have with the Iron Union that would make it better than say Tao?
This isn't about me here. I'm just. This is a genuine curiosity question because on like social issues, agreed with the Progressive Union on like their policy on farm building and resource extraction and road building and all that. The natural transition, if you wanted a more militarist attitude, is to go over to the Order of Tao. Union, which is not as progressive socially, even if it is pro-war internationally.
Alright, well, then there's another thing about the Iron Union, and that is Tao has many of the same, mostly progressive policies on things like farm building and resource extraction, as you said. The Iron Union is promoting fully pro-war militaristic policy. And
I don't know, so Tao. I mean, they all voted in favor with Shanghai. They've been pushing pro-war bills. I mean,
just being pro-war and being militaristic as a general point are two different things.
Militarism is compatible with progressivism. And this is like an IRL thing, too, but like, say here that I just don't think militarism and progressivism are compatible. So if you want to say you want a militarist party, that's fine. Yeah, you as a militarist party. But if you say you also hold progressive beliefs, lying about your affiliation with the Progressive Union, or you're suddenly changing your ideology.
Alright. So, let me get that straight. You stated that either I was lying about my
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you want a militarist party, militarism and progressivism are not, in my view, compatible. You're either saying that you want that your previous progressive beliefs, you're renouncing your progressive beliefs during the Iron Union, or you're saying you never had those previous progressive beliefs. So you're either changing your ideology or you're lying about your ideology.
Okay, I'm going to say that that's not generally true. My ideology may have a few conflicting things that in different situations one would win over the other. For instance, in the situation of impending war, the part of my ideology that says war...
We have no evidence to suggest Songhai can even defeat a city-state, much less would even consider attacking us. Wes's fabricated stories, but that's a different time.
I'm not sure the way that we're just sitting around waiting for Songhai to attack us. I think that Songhai is going to be difficult, and they're going to definitely start making things difficult once we get into a much more diplomatically oriented stage of the game, where there are more people standing around for us to talk to, who are going to not like it when we start, invading people. Not that we're going to end up having to, in the late game, invade people, but the chances that we are going to have a war in the entirety of this game is very high. So if we establish ourselves as sort of more powerful than an average civilization from the beginning, then that will be beneficial to us in the late game.
That's a perfectly legitimate ideology. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just saying that ourselves as the most powerful nation inherently means conquest. And conquest is inherently anti-progressive. Is you're progressive until a situation arises in which you don't have to be progressive.
I see becoming early on a relatively powerful nation as more of a deterrent than a direct statement of, hey, we're going to take over everyone else, we're going to invade, the world is going to be ours, deal with it. But, so, if we can just start by invading parts of Songhai and just showing the world, not even showing the world, just being there for when the world shows up and, starts talking to us, when more nations start coming into our diplomatic stage, we want to be more powerful than them, more developed than them, and to progress further than them in the general sense of science, culture, and economics.
Right, say so. I can't say I agree with your ideology, but it seems to me that, interesting ideology. I'm not quite sure why you joined the Progressive Union in that case, since, they're explicitly call themselves a pacifist party, but you know what? I can't judge another person's ideology right now, but thanks for the new VRB. Thanks for answering my questions, Angus.
Alright, so I am going to have to head off now, but yeah, thank you, RB.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Great to have you. Great for you to join the party too. And I hope this next term will be, great. Finally.
Alright.
Getting some action.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. And 5 people are still here. Will you leave when there's only me left, or will you stay? What could I entice you with to stay here with me? Do I have some juicy Illuminati scandal stories? Probably not. Do you have any questions for me? Is there any other guest you would like to have on? Use the Twitch chat, the DGP server chat, or the Democraciv main server chat. Yeah. Feel free to ask anything. Even about which pizza topping I have. So, Justice, my name is Immaterial, had an interview with the triumvirate of the economy that recently got shut down. How about you link it and we'll see. We can read some parts of it at least. By the way, if anyone else wants to be on, feel free to PM me, ask me in any chat, and I can give you an invite to the show. Yeah, right. I was gonna give an answer to that. The GCP, are they more moderate? My opinion is no, they're not. I even had the opinion that they're more extreme than the Iron Union, actually, because unlike us, they are Chinese supremacists. They believe the Chinese are more worthy of controlling the earth and everything than other civilizations and such. So, but we don't believe in ethnic superiority. We believe in human superiority, not over aliens, of course, but just as one mankind, we are together the most powerful, united as one. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Maybe how we do it are the bad thing, but the goal is humble, at least. Cultural superiority, you ask. Cultural superiority for the GCP or for us? For the GCP, definitely their cultural superiority, supremacist. For us, I don't know actually. We just we want to unite the people of the world using our ideology, harmonious unity. I think the IFB have that view of us that we want to forcibly convert people to be Chinese, everyone, but no, at least not in my view. As long as we all adopt the same ideology to be one, to be peaceful to each other, to be united and make decisions together, I think we're fine. Everyone doesn't have to be Chinese, and although it would help with unity and getting along, but as long as we're one big, large nation on the globe, I think that's enough. Our ideology doesn't specify that we need to convert everyone culturally. No. Space Politics ask, if another nation began to overtake China and had to objectively better standards of living, would the IU lay down arms and embrace their harmonious unity? Well, there comes the problem, because I don't think they are embracing harmonious unity. They're simply imperialists who want to convert us. So, no. Or barbarians. Probably both. Immaterial asked a follow-up question. To encourage peace, would you support a standing arm attack when we reach the UN? On one condition. Really, UN or not, the only reason for the Iron Union and myself personally to support decreasing the army is that the world has been united and our safety concerns and security situation is no longer threatened, and for that to happen, every other civilization will have to have been assimilated into ours. What difference harmonious unity and imperialism? Imperialism is going to someplace else, taking their stuff, claim it to be yours, and exploit them. That's imperialism. Harmonious unity is going over to them, taking their things, combine them with your own, and claim it that is in the best interest of both, which it is. With the unification, there will be no war against each other. There will be peace. There will be cooperation. There will be unity. Production, science, culture, everything will be cooperating, working together as one more efficiently on a larger scale, and we can prosper as we have never done before. That's why you should vote for the Iron Union, because in the end we want the good. We want good, humble and virtuous stuff. Yeah. To maintain harmony, would the IU advocate to puppet sitters over annexation? Definitely not. Because having a puppet means having a decentralized power structure and keeping some of the old elites in power, and that would create disunity, disharmony, and would go against our principles and our way of life, our way of ideology, and it would simply cause trouble later on with uprisings, rebellions and bad stuff. So no, we would have to control them directly to have much more control over them, to make sure they are actually united with us, share our beliefs and values, so we can get along better. Someone else took the military religious beliefs. Should we try and get that religion? Yes, I would say. Like I said, unlike the GCP, I'm not necessarily a Chinese supremacist. At least in the cultural sense. I want China to be the greatest, to unify the world, but there are parts of other civilizations and ideologies that could be beneficial in that endeavor, which we might adopt. Yes. Anyway, we have the Chinese Financial Dispatch here. We'll try to read something out of it. Last week, the Chinese Financial Dispatch sat down with Solace 005, a founder of the Democraciv National Bank, currently sitting on the bank's triumvirate. He is responsible for maintaining the day-to-day activities of the economy, basic income, direct account transfers and purchases from the marketplace. The DNB has been relatively quiet since after its launch, leading to some to wonder what it has been up to, if it has been successful or a quiet failure. Well, we can read the start at least. So the Chinese Financial Dispatch has asked him, how would you describe the state of the economy as of now? Sleepy, says Soros. Right now there's only a few things to do and he's still in the process of gearing up. There's more to come in the next few days, and once those things hit, I anticipate seeing more involvement. Though there's also going to be a wave of death in the next month. A wave of death. Maybe that's where the IFP and the progressives should focus their attention on the massive death count in the economy, instead of what we are planning in the Iron Union. Seems to have misfocused your attention. These are inactive accounts that have little effect on the economy itself. Safe to say that basic income will increase because it always spread evenly across amongst all living members of the community. See, only the living ones, they discriminate against the dead. I think we need to sue them. This isn't acceptable. Tell me about your duties as a member of the Triumvirate. What tasks do you take on a daily or weekly basis? Solace says daily we monitor transactions, verify them, and keep the marketplace as up to date as we can. We are constantly running into new security ideas about then it ends, as well as continuing to build on what we got. Weekly we review the game sessions, adjust for incomes, and distribute those to the people involved in the marketplace. We also try to do updates once per week, including adding in new features. Though this past week has been difficult as most of the Triumvirate has been busy in real life. But I'm personally back to the swing of things, so updates should be rolling out regularly again. And then the repeal happened, so yeah. What will happen now? Let's see if he has commented on that. I wonder if this interview was made before we repealed it. That's unfortunate. Unless I missed it, please comment if I did. So, are there any more people that want to be on the show tonight? Discuss the latest happenings or ask more questions? Immaterial, who wrote the dispatch, as it was written before the repeal. Yeah. I actually wonder what will happen to the economy. Will they keep on going unofficially, which is within their rights? Nothing is forbidding it. Will it lose some legitimacy? And well, it has already lost its base and users, I think so. I don't think it can drop so much more, but I think it will be hard for new people to get into it if it's not official anymore, but nothing stops it from keep existing. Immaterial says he will reach out and for a comment about the repeal from Solace. How are we, by the way? Still 5 people in the chat. Are some of you bots? How have I not lost you yet? Well, thanks for being here. For not so much longer, I think. I have to write a law about creating a head of state. And we'll see if that passes or not tomorrow. Or the day after tomorrow. Yeah. Any more questions or anyone wants to join on air? You can request that in any chat. Okay, Space Politics denies he's not a bot in Twitch chat. He would join, but he's in public. Well, you can feel free to ask any questions or any topic or such you want. Even in chat. If you have anything interesting. Immaterial says good podcast, have a nice night. Thanks. A little longer, we can keep going, but if no one wants to join, then I guess we will call it quits. Yeah, well, I think that's it. So, thanks for showing up. I have streamed for, let's see, 1 hour, 30 minutes and another minute. 1 minute, 31 minutes and 4 seconds. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone for being here. I hoped for more guests, but 2 is better than none, and you still kept watching even if it was only me here. And let's not waste my time or your time or any time. Let's say farewell, and God bless Democraciv or any other of our official state approved gods or religions or Buddhist or whatever. Have a nice day. See you next time. Goodbye.